Introducing the Open Palm Podcast, hosted by Jerome Shaw. Available today on your favorite podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and many more. The Open Palm Podcast, where the host engages his listeners with inspirational messages, motivating themes, and thought-provoking ideas. Topics include: make more mistakes, how much is your value, don't get right, get going, learning to let go, excellence is a habit, and more. Binge listen today. Subscribe today. It's getting excellent ratings. That's the Open Palm Podcast, hosted by Jerome Shaw. You can also find it on YouTube. Make sure you share it with your social networks and connect on Twitter and Instagram at Jerome Shaw. That's the Open Palm Podcast with Jerome Shaw. Available today on your favorite podcasting platforms. Go listen, download, and subscribe now.
It's harder to speak freely with a microphone.
It's harder?
Mm-hmm.
The microphone makes
me self-conscious.
Oh, okay.
Then it's like a block to my train of thought.
You're not usually self-conscious?
No, not anymore. Probably from meditation practice.
Mm-hmm. So, Elizabeth Darcy Marsh.
Yes.
Awesome. But folks call you?
Now they call me Elizabeth or Ellie.
Ellie, yeah. So, Ellie, you've been on a journey, huh?
Yeah, you could say that.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been with the Thabarwa Meditation Center?
Since June 2013.
2013.
Mm.
So that's 7 years.
Yeah, this coming June it will be 7 years.
7 years almost, yeah?
Yeah,
Wow.
Long time.
Wow. Does it feel like 7? Does it feel like that long, or did it
I guess
pass
so.
by?
Both. It seems like no time at all, and also that Tabawa has been part of my life for forever,
Mm-hmm.
for a long time.
How did you find them? How did they find you?
I went to Burma after 5 years of practicing the Goenka meditation method.
Mm-hmm.
Goenka is S.N. Goenka is a teacher. He's Burmese, Indian ethnicity, and he's opened meditation centers all over the world. So I was practicing in one of his centers in Virginia, and then went to volunteer at another one in Massachusetts. So went to Burma to meet him in the end of 2012, when he was doing like a special trip to see different Buddhist sites in Myanmar.
Mm-hmm.
And I was staying in his center over there, and some people from the center somehow knew about Searo and Tabawa Center, or had found out about it and wanted to go and donate robes to Searo.
Yeah.
It's in Buddhist tradition. Then they brought back some reading material, like a transcribed talk that Searo had given, and it really spoke to me.
So that was the very first time you heard him?
Mm-hmm.
When they brought back his voice?
Yeah, no, it's been written down.
Oh, okay.
And published in a book.
Oh, okay. So you read him?
I
Right.
read the talk.
What struck you about his teachings that sort of brought you along in that towards him? Was it
His
him?
way of explaining about reality, which I'd always been exploring to find the true nature of reality. Like, I used to read these books called the Seth books that are like a channeled material by this entity who calls himself Seth.
Okay.
And he talks about the nature of reality. And then what I read from Searo in that talk seemed to not negate what Seth had talked about, but expand on it to like its ultimate sense, like even more explanation. I don't know, it just like made so much sense to me that it has to be like that. That has to be the way that things really are. That's the truth, what he's saying. That I really felt like that. You asked me if I thought I understood the truth about reality. So I feel like I understand it intellectually speaking, but in Buddhist practice we are trying to understand it experientially, like, because that's the deepest form of understanding. So I give the example, like, about swimming. Somebody can explain to you all day about how to swim, and you can think, oh, okay, I got it, I know how to swim. But until you get in the water, you don't really know what it's like. So I have that intellectual understanding, and more and more experiential understanding by meditation practice. But there's a long way to go, I suppose.
You think? What was one of the things that really hit you? For me, when I met the monks and nuns, it was learning about impermanence, detachment, and suffering. These were three things that were uncommon to me. Like, nobody was teaching them, of course, in school, and I didn't learn about them like in my life until this year. I really started learning. What were some things that really impacted you to the core?
That I learned from the monks and nuns? I think exactly like what you're saying. Things that are the most important things to know, but that they, for some reason, don't teach in school. Probably because they don't know themselves. About what is the right way to live the life according to the truth. What should we do with our life? Like, in the society, we learn that we need to get an education, find a career, some way to make money. We need to save money for the future, and then have a family, and then pass away comfortably. But the monks and nuns are teaching about what's behind all of that.
Yeah. As many of us, we don't even question the societal norms of marriage, career, jobs, retirement. You know, we don't really even go against things that we were taught because we're brought up this way, and the people who taught us were brought up this way. So it kind of gets generationally passed on to the next generation. But I feel like this generation is really branching out. It's really a lot of awakenings, per se, where people are stepping out of that tradition, and they're heading into things like entrepreneurship. They're heading into things like other teachings, where they're embracing philosophies that are just very uncommon, especially in America. So, it's just, it's interesting, but you're saying that they look beyond that. They look behind it. Those questions that we don't ask, they see beyond that.
Yeah, I agree that people now are expanding their view about what's possible in life, what we should do. And still, most people don't address the fact that in the end we're going to die. And what does that mean? That is like kind of an ultimate question, because in a sense, then no matter what we're doing, it's all meaningless, right? It's all going to disappear in the end. So why should we do anything at all? Like, these questions come to the mind of some people.
How do you frame it in your mind, where someone else might take that and let that lead them down a downward spiral into, you know, maybe suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
Like it's meaningless, so nothing matters anyway.
Yeah, depressing.
How do you use that, flip it, and say, you know, I want to keep on living?
Good question. Because that's the nature. So if that is the reality of the nature, then it can't be bad in a sense. It's like that's just the way it is. So if we can bring ourselves into harmony with the way that it is, then there's no problem, right? We make it a problem in our mind. Like we don't want it to be this way.
Right. Okay.
But this is the way that it is. So if we have no problem, then there's no problem. You know, if we have no problem in our mind, then there's really no problem.
Okay.
So it's coming to terms with the truth, the reality of what we are, what life is. It's like if we see the river and we see that it's flowing one way, but we're upset, we want it to flow the other way. And of course it will never flow the other way. So all that we can do is acknowledge, like observe, oh yeah, it's going this way. Well, then I have to adjust myself, my thinking.
I love that. I love that thinking. So it's like acceptance.
Yeah, acceptance. But I guess acceptance has a kind of like tone to it, like just giving in, or like you know, something also kind of depressing in acceptance, right? Maybe. But just like knowing for yourself, this is the way it is.
Okay. So it's more of a knowing. When you were with the monks and nuns in Myanmar, and you were meditating and traveling with them, what was one of the most challenging things for you?
Maybe the language and cultural barrier, so that because of those things I didn't have a clear sense what was going on all the time. Like we were traveling with Seattle to different places, and we would stop in people's homes or sometimes public Dhamma hall or something, and I wouldn't understand why or what the place was or what we were doing there, and it was hard to find out the information.
Right.
So in that sense I was kind of left in my own world, and like to the things going on in my own mind, and so when it's like that, your internal world can kind of become kind of all-consuming. You know, you don't have the perspective of others to bounce things off with. You know, like, is this really the way it is?
So you were in situations where, of course, there was a language barrier. You couldn't really communicate effectively because of that. But then you were going to places not knowing why you were going to these places.
It was just the condition at the time. It's just the way that it was. It had to happen like that. So maybe nothing really good or bad about it. It just happened like that. You know, like there was one other Italian nun at the time. In the beginning, we were the only two foreigners there following Sayadaw. And so we've talked about like what kind of karma we had, that we don't speak the same language, we can't understand all this stuff, but we understand enough to know that it's good to be near him and stuff.
So you didn't judge it, you just took it yourself, you became the observer of that as well.
Yes, because I had so much confidence in what Sayadaw was doing, I guess. I didn't have any questions that what I was doing was not a good thing to do. Yeah, so I just experienced it.
A lot of people, you know, when they talk, especially to Sayadaw, they have questions. There's a saying that the more you practice or the more you become a practitioner, the less questions you will have.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Absolutely true. I used to ask Sayadaw a lot more things than I ask him now. Now I kind of have to come up with questions to ask him on purpose, because it feels like he's like such an amazing wealth of information, kind of like a supercomputer. You could just type in any question and it can tell you the answer. So it's like I want to hear from him what he has to say. So to prompt him, I have to come up with some questions. I don't have questions anymore very much about how to practice.
You talked to me about how you observed that he's very attentive. He never interrupts anybody. He always lets people speak. And he seems to have the enormous amount of presence, especially when asked a question. Sometimes he'll even take 5 minutes before answering.
Yeah.
Where do you feel that amount of presence comes from? And is it something that can be grown?
Yeah, I think because of his understanding. Because of understanding the truth. He understands the truth about the time. No time, no place. He knows what to give attention to, what's the most important thing to do at the time. So if it's talking to this person or answering this question, it doesn't matter how long it takes or whatever is the next thing on the schedule. He'll be late until it's over if it's necessary. So he doesn't stress out about anything or worry about anything.
How has your concept of time changed from when you met with the Barwa before and after?
I guess it's a lot more free. I don't worry about it. I don't look at the clock very much.
You've detached from the clock. Did you used to be shackled to it?
No, I haven't ever really lived that kind of life where it was very important to be paying attention to the time, but I guess it's even less important now.
In these days, like when everybody's just hustling and bustling and very busy, being able to take the time to separate from just the busyness, the scheduling and the planning, and to just decompress and not even worry about it. Sometimes I feel like it's hopping into a portal or a different time zone or something like that. Because you see the cars, the traffic, everyone's going somewhere, everyone's doing something. But then when you're able to take the time to just do nothing or not do anything, is there something to do with the action of non-action? Like, is non-action also acting?
Yes, I think that's why Sayadaw says for meditation, we're not doing nothing or not doing something. It's somewhere in between those two, which he calls doing only. It's like we're present, we're existing, so we're sitting there, but not with any intention. Not no intention, but.
So not doing nothing, but also not doing something, but doing only. That's something I would love for you to touch on, like experiencing only, listening only, this only. When you add only, what are the specifications or qualifications for only?
Not being concerned or attached to the outcome is a big one. Like, if we're meditating and hoping for something to happen or trying to make something happen, then we're doing something, right? But if we're doing only, then we're just doing. We're not concerned or worried about the outcome or the result.
Okay.
So we're doing this good thing
Yeah.
because it's right to do. So we just do it,
Mm-hmm.
understanding or trusting that the results will be good anyway because it's a good action.
And that allows you to continue doing it with no problem because you're detaching from the result
Yeah.
or the outcome of anything. Oh my gosh, that's powerful. Well, with that attitude, you could do anything.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
First-
Seattle says everything we do, we should be doing only,
Wow.
not only meditation, actually.
Okay.
He says doing only is the truth. Experiencing only is the truth. Doing only is like he's saying like there's the action only.
Mm-hmm.
Like we attach to what our intentions are or what kind of feeling we have about the action.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking from the outside, there's just the action only. Like I might like move this table over there.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, I'm doing it because I want it to look like this, or I want this to happen, or something. In fact, there's only this table moving from here to there.
That's it.
In reality. Kind of like I was talking about it when I did walking meditation over there yesterday, and my mind went a million places, but in reality, I was only walking back and forth.
Right. So there's also no judgment as well when you're doing only. Because you're not thinking about, am I doing it right or am I doing it wrong?
That's
You're
true
just
too.
doing.
Yes.
So when you remove judgment and then you remove desire or you remove the attachment to the feeling that you should or should not have and you just sit or you just do it, then it's like, yeah.
Seattle says that people are doing good deeds, but they're doing it because they want to do it or they have attachment to what they're doing. If they just do it, just with the knowledge that it's the right thing to do, then that's like doing only.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then it doesn't matter so much what is the effect. If it didn't work out, it doesn't matter. You just keep on doing what is right to do, good to do.
Okay.
So Buddhism describes that what is right to do and good to do is dana, sila, and bhavana, or generosity, morality practice, and cultivating the mind. So if we're doing these three things, and generosity includes like donating our time, our energy, not only our physical possessions.
Like what you're doing right now.
So if we're doing any of these things, then we can just do them. We don't have to think about it. We know that these are the right things to do, the good things to do.
Which makes it a lot less complicated.
Yeah.
I feel like the principles are always simple.
Yes.
But humans are complicated.
Yeah.
We're complex creatures, so we like
we
to
make it complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too, about what the Buddha taught. Actually very simple. So simple that some people write it off easily.
Right.
But even though it's so simple, we're not really doing it. We're not really following it. Humans, most of the time. We think we know what is good, what's not good, and that we can do it. I think my way of living, peace of mind, to know that I'm on the right track. To know that by practicing mindfulness and detachment, I'm safe. So I don't have anything to worry about. Like before that, I had all kinds of uncertainties in my mind. Not worrying about what to do with my life, or thinking maybe I'm not living my life to the fullest, or like caring what happened in my life. No, I don't care what happens in my life. Because I know that mindfulness and detachment is the most important thing. The mind is the most important thing. So whatever I encounter, it doesn't matter. I take my wisdom with me to face whatever situation. So that kind of strength, that kind of confidence to face anything, that is like the greatest gift, the most valuable thing.
Is that what freedom means to you?
Yeah, in a sense. I could say that, yeah. Yeah, that's the real freedom, not needing to depend on happiness or unhappiness, or not needing, like mostly we're trying to pursue happiness or pursue pleasure or try to get the good things out of life. But if we don't need anything like that, the real freedom is freedom from happiness or unhappiness. So that comes from the strength of the mind, or the quality of the mind, the right understanding in the mind. Because if there's happiness there, I can be mindful, oh, there's happiness, and know with right understanding it will change, it'll go away, or it's not me or mine. So there's nothing important or inherently valuable about happiness. It's just a appearing phenomenon. So when it goes away and unhappiness comes, the same thing. So that's the stability of the mind that's beyond happiness or unhappiness. So whatever comes or goes, you're free from it.
Wow. Elizabeth, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Hey there, my friend. So, you've heard about Anchor, but do you know why it's the easiest way to make a podcast? Well, first off, it's free. It allows you to use creation tools that let you record your podcast right from your phone or computer. It also distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can even make money from your podcast with minimum listenership. It's everything you need in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Can't wait to hear yours. Let's see what you have to offer the world.